Welcome to FinSide Updates. Let's discuss key differences between CSR and CER expenses. Aspect or stands for CSR stands for Corporate Social Responsibility, while CER stands for Corporate Environmental Responsibility. Legal basis Section 135 of the Companies Act 2013 reads with CSR rule prescribes certain compliances and certain mandatory regulations to be followed, while CER to be followed based on the environmental clearance by Ministry of Environment, Forest, Climate Change, in short MOEFCC. Trigger CSR is triggered based on the company's financial profits, while CER is triggered based on the project cost. Focus social welfare initiatives, but focus of CER is local environmental and infrastructure needs. Examples Example of CSR expenses like education, healthcare, poverty alleviation. But example of CER expenses like roads, water supply, solar lighting near project sites, tax treatment. CSR is not generally allowable business expenses, while CER is allowable business expenditure because it is precondition for the start of the project, so it can be considered as advancement of business. How we remember the CSR activity in one go? I designed a name which is one of the nat which one of the artificial name, that is the Horsa Jersad is the man who has introduced the CSR for development of India. So you remember the sentence so that you can remember the 12 activities which is as per the Schedule 7 of, of the Companies Act 2013. What is Horsa Jersad? Horsa Jersad stands for HERD, HERD, SHAGRSG, Horsa Jersad. So H stands for healthcare, E stands for education, R stands for research, D stands for disaster, S stands for slum, H stands for heritage, A stands for armed forces, G stands for gender, environment, E stands for environment, R stands for relief, S stands for sports, D stands for development, that is rural development, slum development, etc. So it is very easy to remember Horsa Jersad, HERDSHAGRSD, Horsa Jersad. Let's will discuss in expansion way the 12 activities prescribed coming under the Schedule 7 of CSR. One is healthcare and hunger, like eradicating hunger, poverty, malnutrition, promoting healthcare and sanitation, safe drinking waters, education and skills, promoting education including special education, vocational skills for children, women, elderly, different abled, gender and equality, promoting gender equality, homes for women, orphans, senior citizens, reducing social inequalities, environment, sustainability, ecological balance, animal welfare, conservation of natural resources, Clean Ganga Fund, heritage and culture, protection of natural heritage, art, culture, restoration of historical sites, promotion of traditional arts, armed forces welfare, support for veterans, war widows, CAPF, CPMF dependents, sports promotion, training for rural, national, Olympic, Paralympic sports, relief funds, PM National Relief Fund or PM Cares, other central government welfare funds, research and innovation, contributions to incubators, research and development in STEM, support for IITs, national labs, ICE, DRDOs, etc. Rural development like projects aimed at improving rural infrastructure and livelihoods. Slum development like urban poverty alleviation and slum improvement. Disaster management, relief, rehabilitation, and reconstruction after disasters. So now we'll understand what is the CER expenses, what the definition of CER expenses along with a example. Definition: CER is a condition imposed by Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, in short MOEFCC, during environmental clearance for industrial or infrastructure projects. It is based on the project cost, not company's profits. For an example, a company like A needs to install a cement plant in Odisha. Before getting EC clearance, as per the Ministry of the Environment, Forest and Climate Change, they impose that 1.5% of the project cost should be spent for the CER obligation. For an example, project cost is 500 crores. The CER obligation will be 1.5% of the project cost, that is 7.5 crores. So what are the activities cement plant should undertake in nearby villages or local area? Activity like building roads, installing solar street lights, improving local schools and health centers. Purpose: the purpose of CSR is offset environmental and social impact of the project on nearby villages. This is CAR because it is mandatory compensation for environmental disruption tied to the project approval. Now we'll discuss the accounting treatment of CSR expenses, timing of timing of recognition, and accounting treatment. Timing of recognition: as soon as the company is obliged to spend on CSR based on financial threshold and the board approves the CSR policy and budget, a liability arises. The liability should be recognized even in interim financial statements, not just at year end. Accounting treatment: provision is created for the CSR amount to be spent during the year. If the amount is not spent by the year end, it must be transferred to a specified fund like PM cares within 6 months. For ongoing projects, it should be transferred to a separate CSR account within 30 days. Thank you.